Good evening. The Philippines will not hand former President Rodrigo Duterte over to the International Criminal Court. That is according to President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. In a forum on Monday, April 15, Marcos says he is firm with his stance that Duterte will not be turned over to the International Criminal Court. According to him, the government will not recognize the warrant that the ICC will send to the country. Duterte is facing a crimes against humanity case before the ICC in connection with the bloody war on drugs during his administration. Marcos previously said the Philippines will not assist the ICC in its investigation, but that its investigators could visit the country as ordinary people. Marcos also reiterated that the Philippines does not recognize the jurisdiction of the ICC. On March 2018, Duterte declared the country's withdrawal from the Rome Statute or the treaty which established the ICC. The withdrawal took effect on March 2019. Despite this, the ICC retained jurisdiction over alleged crimes in the Philippines from November 1, 2011 to March 16, 2019, when the country was still a state party. President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. describes his relationship with the Duterte clan as complicated. In a forum on Monday, April 15, President Marcos says his relationship with the Duterte family is complicated, but notes that his working relationship with Vice President Sara Duterte remains the same. According to Marcos, the Vice President is the one he is in contact with the most within the Duterte family. Marcos says that the Vice President, who was his running mate in the 2022 national elections, chooses to focus on her job amid all the controversies. Former President Rodrigo Duterte recently had some strongly worded remarks against Marcos. Former President Duterte also warned Marcos not to use the charter change to extend his 6-year term as president of the country. President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. expresses optimism that the ironclad commitment of the United States to its defense treaty with the Philippines will remain constant and is beyond politics. In a forum, the president was asked if he is concerned if the ironclad commitment to the mutual defense treaty between Manila and Washington won't be the same should former U.S. President Donald Trump get re-elected. In response, President Marcos believes that the agreement made with the United States is beyond politics, adding that the treaty agreements must be honored. However, Marcos notes that U.S. President Joe Biden's re-election will provide a solid ground due to both leaders' previous engagements. The Mutual Defense Treaty states that both nations would support each other if an external party attacked either one of them. The Chinese Coast Guard tailed the Philippine research vessel BRP Hydrographer Ventura and the Philippine Coast Guard's BRP Gabriela Silang while on its way to Bajo de Masinloc or Scarborough Shoal on Sunday, April 14. In a post on X, Ray Powell, who leads Project Myoshu at the Gordian Knot Center for National Security Innovation at Stanford University, said the Chinese Coast Guard was blocking the path of the Philippine vessels 35 nautical miles from Luzon's coastline. According to Coast Guard Commodore J. Tariela, who serves as PCG spokesperson for the West Philippine Sea, the incident shows that China is deploying vessels within the Philippines' exclusive economic zone to impose their 9-line claims. Tariela says that the Philippines has the right to do research in its territory, as stated in the 2016 arbitral award that invalidated China's sweeping claims in the Philippine waters. On April 10, the Armed Forces of the Philippines said that there is an uptick of Chinese Coast Guard and Chinese maritime militia vessels monitored in Scarborough Shoal. Senator Risa Hontiveros asks former President Rodrigo Duterte to stop defending China, saying it was his presidency that made the Philippines look like a Chinese puppet in the eyes of the international community. Though he admitted entering into a status quo agreement in the West Philippine Sea, Duterte assured Filipinos last week that the Philippines did not concede anything to China. However, Senator Hontiveros is not satisfied with Duterte's explanation, saying that Duterte and his men have conflicting claims.
Duterte and his men all have conflicting claims. Ang gulo nilang lahat. Parang gobyerno niya nung siya ay pinuno.
She says Duterte should also stop saying that the Philippines was in a better condition during his presidency.
It was during his time that Chinese Navy vessels with missiles chased and harassed Filipino journalists. It was his presidency that made the Philippines look like a Chinese puppet in the eyes of the international community.
Former presidential spokesperson Harry Roque previously confirmed a verbal deal with China, which was later denied by Duterte's former presidential legal advisor, Salvador Panelo. The Armed Forces of the Philippines vows to keep its support to the Constitution and chain of command following an ouster call against President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. AFP spokesperson Colonel Francel Margaret Padilla says the AFP maintains its unwavering commitment and loyalty to the Constitution. Padilla adds that AFP remains committed to its mandate of safeguarding the sovereignty and territorial integrity of the country. Padilla further says that they will continue to fulfill their duty in protecting the Filipino people and ensuring peace in the country. During a rally in Tagum City on April 14, Davao del Norte Representative Pantaleon Alvarez warned that there will be countless of dead and unimaginable destruction once a war broke out in the West Philippine Sea. Alvarez then called on the armed forces to peacefully withdraw their support for Marcos. Here's the latest roundup of today's top stories. President Bongbong Marcos says the Philippines will not hand former President Rodrigo Duterte over to the International Criminal Court. President Bongbong Marcos says his relationship with the Dutertes is complicated. And transport groups begin two-day strike. These are the stories you need to know today. I'm Neil Mercado. Follow INQUIRER.net on Facebook, X, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and Reddit. For more stories, visit INQUIRER.net. Good evening.